There are a lot of untouchables. Well, the Interruption Transport SLA. Elon Musk has at long last arisen to let the world understand that all that you have acknowledged about the moon so far is totally misguided. For a seriously significant time frame, experts have been examining the opportunity of life on the moon, but that isn't all. Musk seems to suggest the world could, after a short time, capitulate to an enormous disaster. What will happen when every single human is dead? Well, Musk will not permit that to happen. Go along with us as we explore all that Musk has to say about the moon. How does it all begin? You could possibly tell just from how he acts that Musk has everlastingly been focused on the moon. When he was genuinely passionate, you could apparently imagine that he was covered in different kinds of sci-fi books. In that sense, he was found dreaming about people living on the red planet. When adulthood finally came, Musk saw an opportunity to make that dream real. But what was going on with the moon? Why is Musk so engaged with it? For him, the moon represents a wild boondock that has never been meticulously examined, and Musk wants to be the one to conquer it. This is how he truly decided, before SpaceX ever transformed into a thing. Musk engaged with the Moon Society. He even gave a conversation at one of their events and referred to an idea called the Moon Desert Nursery. This implied that he wanted to develop plants on the moon to get people excited about space again. However, something was required to work with that adventure. Musk attempted to catch a Russian rocket for his Moon Desert Nursery project, but there was a problem: the Russians might not have been part of the whole thing. You can apparently figure that Musk was very upset about that. However, he didn't just lounge around frowning. This was his signal to think that maybe he should have his own rockets. From there, Musk's vision started to change into a reality, which began as a little PR stunt and turned into a massive mission to build an entire civilization on the moon. This is when the journey of SpaceX really began. Now, Musk has a dream to start life on the moon, but what did the world think about it before this? The credibility of life on the moon opens up a whole universe of potential results. The moon might have been a barren dead zone, despite having the right components for life, much like early Earth did. Maybe the conditions never fit properly. A long time ago, the sun lost control, stripping away the moon's atmosphere and any hope for liquid water. This idea is the most cautious take. It relies on all of those maybe life tests turning out to be stalemates or simply getting some exceptional spoiling. Until we have solid proof, this theory is just speculation with no room for being proven otherwise. Here's what is going on. The moon may have been brimming with life a seriously significant time back, but everything went downhill. Maybe it used to be a world with thick air, stable water, and all the adornments for life to thrive. But then the moon's atmosphere vanished, leaving the planet powerless. That crash could have wiped out any life. If we start jumping into the moon's harsh history, maybe we'll accidentally find fossilized signs that recount the story of life's rise and fall. But it's not completed right now. There's one more existing speculation out there: the moon could have had life way back in those days, but contrary to a considerable number of people's perspectives, it's not all gone. There could still be life underground somewhere on the moon, we just don't know where it is. Maybe they are just waiting for the right moment to leap out and reveal themselves. Imagine if little critters are living under the Martian surface, moving around in the sand, much like stones tossed by our rovers. We're talking minute stuff here, nothing too tremendous or distinguishable, but even the smallest living things would be a unique benefit for science. Now, here's another speculation for you: what if Earth was the reason life actually began on the moon? You know how sometimes stuff gets flung into space during a massive collision? Well, a long time ago, Earth got smacked really hard by a space rock, and the debris could have reached the moon. It's possible that during this crash, pieces of Earth made it to the moon, and maybe those space explorers settled down and started their own civilization. And here's the last crazy speculation: what if we accidentally sent some Earth creatures to the moon? This would imply that our space program unknowingly gave a ride to our microorganisms all the way to the moon. It would be truly interesting if we finally uncover signs of something living down on the moon, only to realize it's actually our own organisms that we brought there. Sure, this would raise questions about the origins of life, but it could also lead to a deeper understanding of biology itself. Anyway, this is what people have not been sitting and waiting to figure out regarding the moon. We've been sending rovers and orbiters all with the hope of unraveling the Martian life code. Will we find signs of something happening under the surface, past or present? And if we do, are they connected to us Earthlings or something entirely surprising? The potential results are gigantic. Maybe life started on Earth and spread to the moon, or maybe it went the opposite way around. Hell, maybe life existed on both planets long before we appeared. Elon Musk has been one of the most prominent figures in finding answers to these questions. However, there's something different about Musk's approach. While the whole world sees the moon and all its requests that are difficult to answer, Musk considers the planet to be potentially the fundamental way for human perseverance. Humanity is in danger. Some time ago, Earth was continuously bombarded by space rocks. These collisions truly shaped our planet into what it is today. From that point forward, things have calmed down significantly, but that doesn't suggest that space rocks can never hammer into Earth. Later on, nobody can give you that affirmation. Notwithstanding, in the present time, we really get hit by things in space. Whether or not the impact isn't so exceptionally appalling as it used to be, more often than not, minute buildup particles find our planet rather than gigantic, intensely hot impacts. In any case, a significant space rock could still sort out some way to get all in quite close to Earth, challenging our comfort levels. What happened to the dinosaurs has been an interesting, nerve-wracking story for a truly long time. They were wiped out by a space rock a long time ago. Since it happened so long ago, nobody stresses about something practically indistinguishable ending life on Earth anytime soon. However, in 2013, Russia had a very close encounter with a meteor called Chelyabinsk. It came toward the country at various times the speed of sound and made a gigantic sound in the air. The size of the falling star was, in fact, 20 meters wide, and you might wonder how much it weighed. Well, 13,000 metric tons. The impact of the shooting star was devastating. It left a huge number of people injured and numerous structures demolished. So, let us present you with the question, how possible is it that we face a huge space rock risk today? Does the Earth hold the capacity to manage such a significant disaster? Probably not. We haven't arrived at a point in our advancement where we can save ourselves or sidestep a gigantic falling star coming our way, and the decimation of human presence would then become inescapable. This is precisely the thing Elon Musk has been discussing. It's a consideration that, eventually, Earth will be facing an immense space rock. But that isn't the entirety of the situation. There are several other possible risks lurking around the corner. These include dangerous contaminations and volcanic eruptions. These are frightening because, within just seconds, the entire human race could be reduced to soot. Pressing forward would be the only option, and Musk believes that we need to become a multi-planetary species. We ought to consider Earth like a hard drive, storing everything, each song, each book, every single thought or memory. It is also home to every living thing. But here's the part where it gets frightening, this hard drive has crashed before. A contamination here, an impact there, and 2/3 of the population was gone. So what could a wise species truly do? They would come up with a backup plan. Elon Musk's way of thinking is that the entire world needs a plan, a security net and something to return to when things get challenging. In Musk's eyes, this plan is a state on the moon. But how should that vision truly happen? As a matter of some significance, there was serious research on what life on the moon could truly mean, and soon it developed into something much more. The SpaceX Red Dragon project in 2011 collaborated with NASA as a research focus to consider a plan. They intended to send a mission to the moon to pursue signs of activity occurring under the surface over a critical stretch of time. They called it the Red Dragon, and all that truly revolved around modifying SpaceX's Dragon spacecraft to deliver cargo to the moon, as well as clear a way for a human moon mission. The first thought was to use a Dragon module and some clever instruments to drill under the Martian surface to gather samples of water ice. The total plan was assumed to cost under $400 million, but NASA had a few major objectives for this mission. They wanted to track down indications of activity beneath the surface, gauge the moon's underground environments, and learn about the planet's cold secrets. Additionally, they had to test some advanced technology for future human missions, including entry drop and arrival demonstrations. Then, in 2014, they were anticipating using Red Dragon to get samples from the moon and take them back to Earth. However, just 2 years later, in 2016, SpaceX made a shift. They decided to use a Dragon spacecraft to test out some new moon technology, like landing gadgets, and they were set for a 2018 launch, fully supported by NASA. But then there came a major obstacle. SpaceX put the brakes on the propulsive landing for Dragon 2, which meant Red Dragon couldn't touch down on the moon any longer. Instead, they changed gears to focus on a better landing plan for their enormous Starship. In 2017, Elon Musk officially announced that propulsive landing was no longer happening. SpaceX was shifting its focus to perfecting Starship's landing procedure, leaving Red Dragon in the dust. But what is this Starship? SpaceX takes up the challenge of making the moon our next home. But how can they do that? The very first thing they've set themselves on is developing all of the appropriate necessary technology to prepare for the Red Planet. The goal is to create a colony on the moon that would be bustling with human life. However, landing will not be easy. We're talking about significant leaps in shuttle and rocketry technology, all of which are essential before we can even consider venturing out. Additionally, the moon is not exactly ideal for maintaining human existence as it stands. So Musk most certainly has a challenging situation to deal with. But SpaceX isn't going to withdraw from the test. They designed the Starship rocket specifically for the moon colonization project. But how is it different? Well, it's immense, reusable, and built to carry cargo and crew to and from the moon. Furthermore, Musk has plans to terraform the moon. If you don't understand what that means, he wants to change the planet's environment to make it feel like home. This would occur once things are ready and the atmosphere becomes somewhat breathable. These aren't just dreams that Musk is intending to work on soon. He is fully committed to moving people to the moon within his lifetime. But how will he accomplish so much? He's starting with the plan to send the first uncrewed mission to the moon by 2024. Sure, most plans can change, but SpaceX is well caught up and prepared to achieve the next step. Achievement immediately once people do wind up on the moon. Musk has a ton to say about what life there will be like. The one thing that he has guaranteed is that it will be more than just getting through. In his eyes, he sees people blossoming on the Red Planet, getting into things like mining, producing, horticulture, and all the other activities they've been doing on Earth. He even threw around the possibility of a Martian travel industry, which may be difficult to envision at this moment. However, that won't stop Musk. He's making an effort not to transform the moon into simply another version of Earth. He's significantly more centered around building a Martian culture from scratch, which will incorporate new practices and new values. But what's the greatest tool that Musk needs to reach his goals? The Moon Colonial Carrier. In October 2012, he first opened up about his plan, asserting that he wanted to build a rocket that could be used again and again. He promised that this vehicle, which was yet to be created, would be far better than anything SpaceX had previously made. Before long, he named it MCT. But what did these letters mean? The truth didn't become clear until a year later, in 2013, when he finally revealed that MCT stood for Moon Colonial Transport. Just like that, it was confirmed that this spaceship would be the foundation of the entire mission to colonize the moon. But how powerful was this spacecraft? Gwynne Shotwell indicated that it could actually deliver somewhere between 150 to 200 tons of material into low Earth orbit. But what about the moon trip? They expected that the spaceship could carry up to 100 tons of cargo and passengers. If that hasn't managed to impress you, the engine of the MCT likely will. Tom Mueller, the man behind SpaceX's engine development, claimed they could combine 9 Raptor engines onto one MCT booster or shuttle. This means that the MCT would be a vehicle no less than 10 meters wide with as many as 3 cores and something like 27 booster engines. In terms of power, nothing could compete with this. However, in 2016, the Moon Colonial Carrier changed to become the Interplanetary Transport System. But why did they need to change the name? Had Musk given up hope? It was quite the opposite. They changed the name because they realized that the spaceship would actually go beyond the moon. Elon Musk revealed much more about this space mission. According to him, there would be a brand new rocket with 2 stages, a reusable booster and a spaceship. It would utilize tanks made of carbon composite filled with liquid methane and oxygen. Now, of course, Musk's team wanted to go beyond everyone's expectations, so they came up with 3 different versions of the same spaceship, one for the crew, one for cargo, and one for refueling. All of these versions would work together, supporting each other throughout the journey. Obviously, not everyone was convinced by the idea of transporting people to the moon. It was a grand plan that left many skeptical. Most didn't fully believe they could trust the technology to this degree. But don't rely on the cynics, because the spacecraft boasted some genuinely incredible technological features. The booster was 12 meters wide and 77.5 meters tall and was powered by 42 engines, more than anyone could comprehend. The spacecraft could produce a thrust of up to 128 million newtons at launch, and it was highly efficient because it was built to land back on the platform for quick refueling and relaunch. The second stage focused on long-duration trips, equipped with 3 sea-level engines and 6 optimized for space. Finally, there was the big hauler, capable of pulling as much as 380 tons of cargo to low Earth orbit in one go. The tanks would sit back on Earth for another round of the same. But things were set to grow even further. In September 2017, Musk introduced a brand new launch monster, calling it the BFR. He had huge plans for it and aimed to send the first cargo missions to the moon as early as 2022. The goal was to survey the landscape, find water, and prepare for business for future flights. By 2024, he was eyeing additional ships, 2 for carrying crew and 2 for transporting cargo and equipment for a charge plant. Elon truly had everything planned out. The BFR was all about balance. Musk and his team had to juggle factors like payload mass, landing capabilities, and reliability. Ultimately, the ship was fitted with 6 Raptor engines, a combination of sea-level and vacuum engines, making it one of the most powerful spaceships out there. By September 2017, SpaceX had already test-fired Raptors for 20 minutes. That's significant engine activity, and the plan was to keep pushing for more power. In the meantime, Musk was busy scouting manufacturing sites across the U.S., including California, Texas, Louisiana, and Florida. By mid-2018, they were already producing models and settling in Los Angeles. The BFR was designed to be a towering 106 meters tall with a sleek stainless steel frame. This upper stage became known as the Big Falcon ship, BFS, and included all the fancy features like a clever delta wing and split flaps for precision control during landing. Plus, it could handle a wide range of payloads, from cargo to passengers. However, SpaceX had a shift in perspective in late 2018. They swapped out carbon composites for good old stainless steel. Why? Because it's cheaper, stronger, and can handle heat better than anything else. Plus, it meant no more heat shield headaches. Then, in 2019, SpaceX had a new name for their brilliant creation, Starship. They rebranded the entire thing, with the booster now known as Super Heavy. But there's more to Starship than you might think. On April 14, 2024, it made its grand entry into space. It's been a long road of secret projects, massive explosions, and regulatory hurdles, but finally, SpaceX has managed to nail it. They've proven they can not only build the tallest, mightiest rocket ever, but also send it soaring beyond our atmosphere. However, the significance of this moment was soon overshadowed by reality. Right when things seemed amazing, Starship literally vanished upon re-entry.